eliciting awards from the host countries. Now, is this part of the Indian MEA protocol?
But there are vague rumors that go around in the corridors of power that a certain amount of pressure is brought upon many of these ambassadors to work on smaller countries to get them award to elicit the Prime Minister's visit to the countries. And that is where the problem lies. There is some great hurry that has been witnessed at this point. 4 days back, the cabinet meets in Seychelles. They decide that the award should be given. Imaginatively, they name the award as something to do with the Blue Sea, about which Mr. Modi has nothing to do if you take into consideration that how he has treated the Nicobar Island and all that. Neelu, who's really bothered? Nobody's really bothered about these inactive websites. You've done a chore, done some work and move on. Go for the next award. He's already got 35. It's not a joke. So we'll be looking at 40 within no time whatsoever. So he's visiting two, three more countries, going to New Zealand.
Is he looking at some sort of a milestone? No, is Modi trying to achieve a milestone? Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversation. Indonesia today has conferred its highest honor, the Bintang Adipurna, to Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Jakarta. Prime Minister is on a three-nation tour. First, he's gone to Indonesia, then he'll go to Melbourne in Australia, and then he'll visit Auckland. So today, the first leg of his trip is at Indonesia, where he's received this Bintang Adipurna Award. Adipurna is a distinction marking the highest class of Bintang Republic Indonesia Award, whose Grand Master is the President of Indonesia. The award was conferred by President Prabowo Subianto to Prime Minister Modi. The Indian PM is in Indonesia for a 3-day visit, which began Monday. And he's set to depart for Australia on Wednesday. Now, in fact, Narendra Modi has also tweeted that this morning I was conferred Indonesia's highest honor with great affection and respect. This honor belongs to the millions of Indians, reflects the sentiments of the Indonesian people, and celebrates the historic and deep-rooted bonds between India and Indonesia. I extend my heartfelt thanks to President Prabowo, the government of Indonesia, and the people here. In fact, this was a joint press statement where Prime Minister Modi has said this. Modi was wearing the star and the sash of the award during the statement. He's the second Indian Prime Minister to be conferred with the award, following Jawaharlal Nehru. Nehru was awarded the Bintang Adipurna in 1995 when Indonesia was celebrating its 50th year of independence. The same year, the three other Indians, Biju Patnaik, former Chief Minister of Odisha, and PRS Mani and Muhammad Yunus, both ambassadors, former ambassadors to Indonesia, they were awarded the Bintang Jasa Utama by Jakarta. But if you've seen of late, there was an article which appeared in Guardian and which almost made a mockery of the awards which Prime Minister Modi gets on his foreign tours. And it almost looks like a choreographed script where he gets the award by the government where he visits. There is a choreographed song and dance ceremony which he watches. In fact, in the Indonesia leg as well, he was seen at the airport watching the song and dance by the Indian troop. And then the biggest outcome of every trip turns out to be some sort of an achievement for Adani. What does India get in return? If you look at, or if you try and do an honest audit of the foreign tours of Prime Minister, nothing tangible comes for the country except the awards to the Prime Minister and of course some sort of a benefit which is given to Adani. So we'll try and speak about this award, another award which Modi has received today. Joining me this evening is author, international affairs expert Sanjay Kapoor. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for joining. It's a pleasure having you on the program. And Modi has received another award today. This Bintang uh, Bintang Award, which is supposed to be the Bintang Adipurna, which is supposed to be the highest honor, which after Nehru, now Prime Minister Modi is getting. What would you say to this award? And given the fact that it comes very close to the moment when Guardian had written an article almost making a mockery of Modi's awards.
Thank you, Neelu, for giving me a chance to express my views. I'm not so much of a cynic as others would be from the opposition party. I mean, I think the Prime Minister should travel as much because it raises the profile. But he's already got 35 awards, I think more than any other head of state would ever think of getting. On top of that, he's got the kind of awards that don't really sit well with his personality. The one he got in Seychelles was probably the icing on the cake. And that is what
in fact, this reminds me, Sanjay, I'm sorry to interrupt you because I just wanted to give a perspective to the viewers of the awards, the latest ones which Prime Minister Modi has got. Now, between May and early July 2026, Modi has received several prestigious international accolades, starting from Seychelles. That's the latest one. Seychelles, he received the Guardian of the Blue Horizon, that is the highest civilian honor. Then at Slovakia, he received the Order of the White Double Cross, that is a first class award. At Israel, when we went, he got the Medal of the Knesset. At Norway, he got the Grand Cross of the Royal Norwegian Order of Merit. And at Sweden, if you remember, when the latest leg of his foreign tours began, he got the Royal Order of the Polar Star, that is the Commander Grand Cross. Yes, Sanjay.
Yeah, and he also got a very interesting award in Israel when he went just 2 days before the war broke out. That was an award that nobody had heard of it. It was something that had to do with the Knesset, the parliament, the award of the parliament. So I think it is also using a lot of imagination of his host to find awards, find ways to give him award. I don't know why, what kind of obsession that he has that he goes and collects these awards. In fact, the Guardian was less than charitable when they said that you have an award and run, you get it for you. So it is rather bad for an Indian Prime Minister to be talking about something so, in a certain way, so trivia driven. It's not something to be feel very great about it. But that's what Mr. PM is. But having said that, there is a great need for an audit to be done about what is the outcome of various trips that the PM has made. 100 plus trips have been made ever since he came to power 12 years ago. And thereafter, he has got 33 awards. So I don't think the award should be clubbed with the audit of the trips. And there have been a great amount of accretion in the value of Mr. Adani's companies, the amount of contracts he might be getting, the profile that he has. He wasn't so big at the time when he became to power, Mr. Modi did. Now he's become far big, and most of it primarily because the ports have been given, the airports have been given. There are many companies that have been handed over on a platter to him by Indian government. And that has raised his profile quite a bit. But I can tell you one thing more, that is something which is not really charitable about the host countries. They seek Prime Minister's attention and that of Mr. Adani's attention because they want early investments in many of the enterprises. Like I remember there was a head of state who came from the Middle East country, and he wanted Mr. Adani's attention, and he, not so much the Prime Minister, but Mr. Adani. And he spent all the time trying to woo him because he was constructing a new capital. And he needed big money for that. I think he got to go ahead and he did that. Similarly, in Bangladesh, when the earlier government was in power, they wanted some other investment. So there has been quite amount of wooing that takes place from these head of states for Mr. Adani. And that is how the international diplomacy works at the moment.
But eliciting awards from the host countries. Now, is this part of the Indian MEA protocol? Have the bureaucrats, or rather the diplomats working at MEA, have they been told that this is a prerequisite for every foreign tour which Prime Minister makes, whether it is going to Sweden or Norway or Slovakia? We haven't seen these kind of awards when he goes to China or US, by the way.
I don't want to say anything because it's nothing that gets you any kind of evidence. But there are vague rumors that go around in the corridors of power that a certain amount of pressure is brought brought upon many of these ambassadors to work on smaller countries to get them award to elicit the prime minister's visit to the countries. And it's a package, it's a formula. You need, the formula is that he would be given an award, he would talk about investments, he'll get up some kind of Indian diaspora meeting with Indian diaspora. He's having one tonight, I think, at Indonesia, Jakarta, because Indian diaspora has in itself become big. No credit to the prime minister, and they are really begun to move things in the countries of their choice. So they put pressure. The ambassador put pressure. The Ministry of External Affairs put pressure that the Prime Minister should be looked after well. And I think there's no harm in asking for more and more from these people, because I'm sure they're getting something in return that they would have not got otherwise.
I also want to talk to you about the significance of this Indonesian trip by Prime Minister Modi, because I was looking at one of the tweets by Siddhant Sibal, and he very clearly says, and he's put that out as a breaking news, in fact, this morning, that India and Indonesia to jointly develop Sabang port, which overlooks the Strait of Malacca and is 100 miles away from India's Great Nicobar Port project, say the sources. Now, what does that mean? I mean, is India looking at some sort of a strategic significance when it comes to Strait of Malacca? Is it a strategy to checkmate China in some way?
I think there is great merit in what you're saying, because Strait of Malacca is one of the choke points. There are 3 or 4 choke points when it comes to dealing with China. And the plan is that, if China misbehaves, then you put the choke points in use and in a certain way stop oil from flowing to China. But there are other ways to do it, to put controls over China. It's not that only one that they are doing. If you look at the itinerary of the Indian Prime Minister and what they've sold and what the trade has taken place, there's also a sale of BrahMos, which are missiles which you will only use against Chinese. Then Indonesia doesn't have enemies other than China, for that matter. And we are going to have 350 million worth of sale of BrahMos, as well as some more we are selling in terms of Astra missiles. These missiles are largely, India cannot sell them alone. They need to have approval from the Russians, because of joint collaboration. And when you have an approval from the Russians and you look at the pattern of the sale of BrahMos, he's selling it to Indonesia, we sold it to Philippines, we sold it to Vietnam. And all of them have only one common enemy and one common country to, in a certain way, control or serve as a countervailing force, and that is China. So I'm rather bewildered. Why does Russia give permission to India to sell BrahMos to countries that have some bone to pick with China? But that is what Indian diplomacy or international diplomacy is all about. And we are selling these, and we're selling, and we're also trying to build a port in Strait of Malacca. And why are we doing that? So that
and the Great Nicobar project is already, everyone knows that Adani is coming up with that project.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is that there is a great amount of trust that Mr. PM shows towards Adani and his ability to execute projects. He thinks that he's in a position to deliver faster than the public sector companies. Public sector companies are just doing partial work for a larger group like that. I mean, there was an anecdote that was told to me a few days back about how an Indian company was looking for support from Indian vendors, but the larger beneficiary would have been Mr. Adani. So this has become a common practice. We can't really grudge that, because there's no other way. Because if you look at the US, I was expecting it to happen like that. Even the United States of America Department of Justice that had filed a case against Mr. Adani seem to be backing out, because they think that they overexceeded the claim, their entire attempts to bring down Adani. And it's possible that Mr. Adani would be once more rehabilitated in US, and he'll be doing business with them. So look at it. I mean, in a certain way, they're far better, far spacier in terms of the execution than many of the Indian companies are.
But coming back to the Guardian article, which was written just a few days back, and this article, the way it wrote about Modi getting awards from Seychelles and to other countries also, and how the spelling of the award also was incorrect. It was the citation which seemed was almost AI generated. Now, don't you think that the MEA officials would be moved by an article if it appears in Guardian on Modi's awards? Doesn't Modi get impacted by this? Doesn't MEA have any impact on planning the foreign tours of Prime Minister Modi when an article like this appears in Guardian?
I'm sure they must be deeply embarrassed by this. It's not that something they would all human beings, professionals who probably know exactly what has to be done. But this is an outcome of the pressure that is brought on them. That they have to somehow find a way to get an award out of Seychelles or any other country that they are engaged with, and that is where the problem lies. There is some great hurry that has been witnessed at this point. 4 days back, the cabinet meets in Seychelles. They decide that the award should be given. Imaginatively, they name the award as something to do with the Blue Sea, about which Mr. Modi has nothing to do. If you take into consideration that how he has treated the Nicobar Island and all that. So the fact is that this is given to him, and the MEA would ideally like more deliberate, more time to be taken, and maybe establish awards rather than the ones that are being forced down on the throat of the many of the countries which are supposed to give them. And use of AI and use of Chat GPT and all that is shameful. The awards are not to be given like that, and I'm sure there would have been some lot of soul searching may have taken place at different levels, both in Seychelles as well as in India. That why did they end up in a situation like this? But that's Mr. Modi for you.
But coming back to another story which is being discussed since morning, and that is how China has launched a nuclear capable ballistic missile into the Pacific Ocean. In fact, there is a press statement that United States monitored China's test launch from a submarine of an unarmed intercontinental range ballistic missile, which landed in the southern Pacific Ocean at a time when the United States is working harder than ever to prevent nuclear proliferation. China is doing the opposite. Beijing's rapid and opaque nuclear weapons buildup is of great concern to the region and the world. We continue to urge China to engage in meaningful arms control discussions and commit to a regularized notification arrangement for all intercontinental range ballistic missile and space launches consistent with commitments made by all other P5 members. The United States remains steadfast in our defense commitments to our allies and partners. Now, this is a U.S. Department of State statement which has come out. And what would you say when we see Prime Minister Modi totally focusing on smaller nations like Seychelles? Now he's gone to Indonesia. And I don't know what the outcome of this really will be. But when the focus actually should be China and America, Modi's focus seems to be totally somewhere else. What would you say? I mean, Modi is happy getting an award in Indonesia and not worried about this nuclear ballistic missile which has been launched by China.
I would not be so Modi centric in my submissions on this issue. I mean, it's all right to talk about him because that is where we are located. But I think the world has moved far beyond India for that matter. You have a situation where you have US and China slugging it out. And what has China done? China has fired a nuclear missile. And the message is not to India so much as it is to China that you don't mess around. We will take Taiwan when you want at our own choosing. And please don't get into our space because we will bomb you, we will do whatever. So be careful. What we are hearing at the most, what you read out also, was everything that the US has said. We haven't read what the Chinese have said. We haven't read what the others have said. We only get a perspective from US based media companies or US based companies. And because they're most, in a certain ways, speedier in terms of news dissemination and whatever. But the truth is that it's a different world. Now China is making it amply clear that they are ahead in terms of AI, in terms of missile defense, and even in terms of nuclear missiles. So they won't tell India, who's trying to do all kinds of things, dealing with Philippines and Indonesia and trying to raise the cost of Chinese operations in this region, that look at, don't mess around with us. We are serious. We have our weapon systems which can really cause a great amount of harm. And during this Operation Sindoor, Pakistan was using almost Chinese equipment. All the missiles were Chinese. Everything was Chinese for that matter, and they didn't do too badly. And India is cognizant of it. So there is a great amount of conflict taking place at the moment. You may say that or not say that, but we are operating at a very much lower level, and China is targeting US by doing whatever it is doing.
But coming back to the awards, because that is the top of the moment, with Indonesia now awarding Modi with another award, and the Guardian article. I'll just talk about that. The Guardian article, the last line of the Guardian article, in fact, says the BJP says the awards are a recognition of Modi's international stature. Sanjay, I would want you to comment what BJP says, that these awards are a recognition of Modi's international stature. How would you summarize this?
I am not very sure. I don't think that is really the case. Why should they give it to him? Is it a farewell visit? Is it something that they feel very good about it? And why create an award when nothing existed? So it worries me that that the BJP is obsessing as much as the leader about the awards that are coming in from different countries. That's not how people go after the countries and get them awards for that matter. I mean, if you look at it, even Trump is no better. Trump is also full of himself. Is it a case of some right wing leadership that they look for recognition from all kinds of entities, or is there something abnormal about them? I'm not able to comprehend, but you see
In
a similar
fact,
kind of pattern.
Guardian article has quoted our own journalists like Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay. In fact, he said it is privately acknowledged that accolades and awards. I'm just reading out from the Guardian article. It is privately acknowledged that accolades and awards have become an expectation during Modi's foreign trips. This is what Nilanjan says, and says that the global push for prizes was symptomatic of the Prime Minister's personality driven politics. Now, is it a given that before Modi travels to any foreign country, is this like a give and take sort of a thing? What is your assumption, Sanjay?
No, this is something that one doesn't have the benefit of knowing exactly what are the instructions that go to the Indian ambassador or Indian officials, where the awards are being instituted or being given to a prime minister. I'm not very sure what really happens. I only know the outcome. I only know how it plays out. But the truth is that the awards are being given, and they're coming in from countries which did not have these kind of awards. So surely there is some messages that goes from India that look here, you come here, some awards have to be created for the prime minister because he feels very nice, and when he feels nice, he gives something more. So what is that these people are expecting? It's always a quid pro
It's
quo.
about pleasing Prime Minister Modi. So
Not joy.
it's about the host nation pleases Prime Minister Modi, and they expect something in return. And BJP consolidates its domestic political narrative that, look, this is the rising stature of Prime Minister Modi. Is that the way to look at it?
Truly. I mean, that makes them feel very nice, and they can go around telling the world, they look at whatever you may be saying is not true, that India's profile has gone down. Look at what's happening abroad. Everywhere Mr. PM goes, they are the ones who are celebrating his coming in. I remember when he then went to Cyprus recently, and
Yes.
the Cypriot prime minister, president, whoever, whatever his status is, he went overboard because he was waiting for him to come for a long time, and he got an award. I don't know whether that award had been given before that, but he got some repurposed award all over again that was given to Mr. Modi, and that was it. So what did he get? I mean, there are two things: one, Indian
But
investments, and
Sanjay,
secondly,
the
a lot of
Guardian
Indian
article.
funding.
Right. No, the Guardian article has ripped apart Modi's, in fact, 2019 award, the Philip Kotler Award. And in that particular paragraph, they say that in 2019, Modi also became the first recipient of India's Philip Kotler Presidential Award, given to the Prime Minister for his outstanding leadership of the nation. According to the government's press release, the honor was to be bestowed annually to the leader of a nation. However, no other leader has since been given the award, and its website lies dormant. So when these awards are planned by the MEA or the Indian government, don't they fear these repercussions that if they are not keeping that website active, people will always turn back and say that, look, this award was specially created, it seems.
Neelu, who's really bothered? Nobody's really bothered about these inactive websites. You've done a chore, you've done some work, and move on. Go for the next award. He's already got 35, which is not a joke. So we'll be looking at 40 within no time whatsoever. So he's visiting two, three more countries. He's going to New Zealand.
No,
He's
so
going
is
to
he looking at some sort of
Australia.
a milestone? No, is Modi trying to achieve a milestone that, look, this is the only prime
Why
minister
not?
in the world to get
I
the
have
highest number of awards?
I have no idea who's the leader in all at the moment who's
No,
got
but
more
what is
awards
your
than him.
assumption? Is Prime Minister Modi chasing that milestone of being the only prime minister who gets the highest number of awards?
So he would not get a Nobel Prize, but he'll get the highest number of awards. I mean, I'm sure that has been achieved. So that's something which is given. So he won't get a Nobel Prize, something that about which Mr. Trump obsesses, but he might get something else. So that is what he is visibly doing that. So let's face it, Mr. Modi likes awards. People are willing to give him awards, and they like to get some quid pro quo out of it. Get some Indian companies to invest, get more Indians to settle down in their country because labor has become very scarce in the Western world, and here it can be possible to send a whole lot of them. So Guardian article is only telling you partially the truth about what they thought was very unusual, but we know we go through it all the time that there is a certain amount of joy in seeing a Prime Minister of India being celebrated in that manner. But what is it at the end of the day? We don't know. So everything you said in the early part of the program that there's a need to audit. What are we getting out of it? What is it? How is it impacting our foreign policy? All those things have to be repeatedly told to the government as such. And the matter should be raised in the parliament if they ever try to do it.
I don't know if this matter will be raised in Parliament, but my last question to you, Sanjay, is that Modi gets the award. There is a quid pro quo that India probably will be investing in those host nations, and in lieu of that, Prime Minister Modi gets the awards. But what does India get at the end of the day?
So that is what we have to decide what India gets. India has to get better trading terms. India has to get all the critical inputs which are not available. India has to get market access. India has to get better facilities for its citizens when they travel abroad. India also should get free or visa-free travel to some countries where Seychelles or Cyprus or many others that are concerned. So we have to tick boxes whether we are getting that or not. If you're not getting it, India is not getting anything. If you're getting all those, then surely Prime Minister's visits are working. So we have to be clear on that without rather than just bashing him. We have to take a very, neutral issue view on this and how it is working, how it is not working.
End it here. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for joining on HW News. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. Bye.